Today, my guest is Kim Daly, one of America's top franchise consultants, renowned for her 2 decades of experience in guiding aspiring entrepreneurs through the complexities of franchise ownership. Terrific insights with a top franchise coach. This interview you don't want to miss. Kim Daly, welcome to the Franchise Coach podcast.
Thank you, William. It's a pleasure to be here.
Kim, you've been more than a broker. You've been more a coach, a mentor to hundreds of franchisees throughout your career. Are there any special qualities that you feel are important, if not critical, to be successful in taking on franchising or taking on a franchise?
It's an excellent question, William. Right? And it's kind of a myth in franchising that I really don't need special skills. Not really. Right? We know that you need a certain level of investment for different businesses, but you certainly don't need an MBA or any prior business ownership experience. In fact, that's the advantage of investing in a franchise compared to entrepreneurship, because you don't need all of that background behind you, because you're going to be trained and adequately supported by a good franchisor that's going to help you get up that learning curve. So I would say, if you were saying, what are the skills that are required to be successful in a franchise, I would say it's more the internal desire for growth. I say that franchising really is a vehicle that's going to drive your life personally, professionally, and financially to a new place. But the gas in that vehicle is the clarity of your goals and dreams. So it's who you show up to become and how you show up with grit and tenacity and focus, right? Motivated to take the tools that you're given, execute, and create a result. And the last thing I'll say is too many people in franchising are looking for the quick hit. They're looking at an FDD, that franchise disclosure document, and they're going, okay, this is what it costs to open it. I'm going to turn the key, and then they turn over to item 19, the earnings claim, and say, and that's how much money I'm going to make. And then Kim Daly's over here for 23 years and over 1,000 videos on YouTube dispelling that very myth, because it's fundamentally flawed all over the place. And you know why, William. You're shaking your head, but I'll stop right there and I'll explain if you want me to, but I don't want to just dominate the show.
No, but it is your show, and I really like to learn a bit more about it, because one of the questions that I always have is to say, if let's just say I'm looking to invest in a franchise. You obviously guide people depending on their background, depending on their performance. If you do an assessment or whatever, you guide them to a certain industry or not. Like, if you don't want to get up at 3:00 in the morning, you shouldn't be in a donut or coffee business.
Don't make the donuts.
Right? So my question is, what should I ask a franchisor or a consultant as yourself if I'm looking at a specific franchise opportunity? What are the key questions I should ask?
It's a great question. So when you come to me, I'm going to ask the questions. You don't have to know what the right questions are. I'm going to actually guide your entire process, but it really starts with selecting the right businesses to explore. There's too many people out there that are using Entrepreneur 500, but Entrepreneur 500 or Google searches. They're looking for something they think their community needs, something that they personally enjoy. Like, I love to work out, so I want to own the gym. Or maybe they enjoy the taste of the smoothie and think, wow, it would be fun to own that. Well, a franchise is not a hobby. It's not a passion. It's an investment. And it must cater to the skills that you have or are willing to develop. Because the business will only be as successful as you are at utilizing those skills, utilizing the tools that are given, and executing, right? There's this myth in there, again, that it's foolproof. It's a franchise, but it's not foolproof. You can take 2 owners in the same business with the same training, even at the same time, right? And even maybe in the same market. And they will produce completely different results. Why? Because the result in a franchise all funnels back to the owner. It's really about your execution, your mindset, which is why I'm the mindset coach, because there's more to the success equation than the strategy that you're paying for. So to answer the question you asked me, though, when you come to me, I'm going to ask you the questions. Who do you want to become through this journey? What kind of skills do you have? What have you done in your past that you enjoyed doing? What have you done that you didn't like doing that we want to stay away from? What kind of working hours do you want? What kind of people do you want to create jobs for and be the leader of and corral every day? What kind of lifestyle do you want? Do you want a business that's home-based, or do you want to work from a brick and mortar location? So I'm going to teach you what your money buys. So before I even ever ask you how much money do you think you want to invest, I'm going to take the time to teach you what every franchise business costs and why. Because I don't think it's a fair question to ask when you don't even know what I hear when you tell me how much money you think you want to invest. So once we have a select group of companies that we can explore, because we know that the characteristics of the owners in these businesses and these franchisors match the characteristics that you're looking for the ride that you want, that you're ready to go on through this business, then we'll talk about, all right, Kim, what are the questions that I should be asking to the franchisor? You know, how do I talk to their owners? How do I finance my business? Do I need a franchise attorney? All of the things that are on your mind, I'm here to be that trusted advisor, a resource for you so that you don't have to fumble around in the dark making it up. I have 23 years of experience. I have funneled tens of thousands of people down this path. I don't know if you know this, William, but I have created almost 1,000 franchisees here in the United States of America over the last 20 years. So I might know a thing or two about the exploratory process.
And as being involved as I am with franchisors throughout the years, you are a breath of fresh air, and we actually I usually relied a lot in consultants and coaches as yourself to bring in the candidates, because once a candidate's brought in by someone like yourself, it's already pre-qualified, predetermined that more than likely they will succeed if they follow our system. Whereas opposed to someone coming off the street and having 25 different options to choose from, because I'm assuming that once you get a candidate and you do their assessment and everything else, you pretty much narrow it down to 3 or 4 options, if that.
Correct. That's correct. Yep. And I wouldn't go so far as to say they have a higher likelihood of being successful. That's going to be on the franchisor if you're the franchisor. But I would say that when they get to your desk, they are motivated. They're ready to learn about your business. They're serious. They're financially qualified. They live in a market that you have and open and have deemed viable. And so in terms of taking people through a development process, this is a very high likelihood candidate of going pretty far in your process. We don't know if they're going to buy a franchise at that point, but we know that they're genuinely interested in learning more. And I think that, look, if you've ever quote sold anything in your life, who doesn't want a lead delivered to your desk like that? That's why franchisors pay me, and I'm very aware of that. I do all of the dirty work for the franchisors, but it's good because that's why it's a free service for my candidates, because by the time you get to their desk, they know you're matched, you're financially qualified, you're ready to go, and they can really take you through their steps to help this mutual evaluation process move along to see if it's mutually beneficial for both of you to end up being partners.
Yeah, for the life of me, it's beyond, because it's almost like you're in the real estate business. If you're the realtor or the real estate salesperson, you get paid by the seller, not the buyer. And you provide all this free service, and you show around and do open houses for the buyers for free. And I'm surprised that more and more people do not tap into the resources as yourself when they're looking at a franchise and they want to do it on their own. Like if they're going to save any kind of money or discover something different.
I know there's a couple of reasons for that. Number one, they might not know that we exist, which is why I'm all over social media trying to spread the word that we exist. It doesn't have to be Kim Daly, but there is a thing called a franchise consultant. But number two, there's also a myth or a misconception that when you work with the consultant, you're going to get biased information or you're going to have a limited number of companies to research. And I think it's because there's not enough consultants out there who know how to adequately answer that question when it comes up. But what I say to candidates when they say that to me is you can look at it like you're going to be limited, or you can look at it like your time is going to be maximized. Because I've been doing this for 20 years, and this may not be a true statement of any other consultants, but this is how I would answer it. I know who's who and what's what. And not every franchisor out there is worth your life savings. Trust me on that one. The majority of them are going to fail. The majority of them have no business being a franchisor. They are only going to award you a business, or even going to, quote, sell you a business because you fog up a mirror. It's not a mutual evaluation process, but I've been around long enough to not even play with those people. And so the caliber of the franchisors that I'm going to bring to you are the A-plus players. And what I tell people is, if you have a brand that I don't know about, that you just love, bring it. This isn't about Kim Daly. This is about you. Yeah. You're just going to use me for what I know and my skills. But here's the thing, I guarantee, if that company was so good, it would already be in my inventory, or it would be being, prepared by the people who create my inventory to be in my inventory. So more than likely, as we move through the process, the company that somebody brings that they're like so in love with will so quickly go away when they see the A-plus standard that is a good, solid franchisor, and how they're treated and how they have a process to teach you about their franchise process, right? Like simple things. I tell people, if the franchisor doesn't seem interested in you, run fast. If they don't have a process to teach you about their process, run really fast, right? If this doesn't feel like it's mutual evaluation and they have a culture that they're trying to match you to, run fast, right? So there's flags that franchisors raise that people that don't use somebody like Kim Daly don't even know should be red flags.
Yeah.
And I do all this for free, and you'll never feel any pressure from me. I'm like so not salesy, because I run my business in a way, William, that I figured this out years ago. If I need every single person that I meet to invest in a franchise, number one, there's no integrity in that. Number two, it's going to make my life miserable. So I figured out how to play my numbers, if you will. So I don't need you to be the one that buys a franchise. What I can control is how many yous I meet every day, and that's the game that I show up to play. And then I'll coach you through, and you'll hear me say all the time, I'm not going to talk you into it. I'm going to talk you through it. I'm going to challenge you, but you're never going to feel any pressure. No is a perfectly good answer. But in my process, the no comes so quickly because I'm able to deliver the confidence in the process to the candidates so quickly that they rise up in their mindset so fast. Like I tell people, in my process, 1 to 2 weeks to a no. You will not spend 2-3 months to figure out this is not the right investment for you. We'll probably spend 30 minutes because it usually has to do with money. And that's why I teach you about money. But the yes takes a little bit longer, and that's about 1 to 2 months.
So is that your window about from meeting to qualifying to delivering the deal?
I'm really good at 6 weeks.
I think, yeah, because I feel like if someone's looking to just either make the jump from corporate life to business ownership, I think once they made up their mind that they want to do this, it doesn't take them long to really execute it. If they're ever to execute it, it doesn't take them long to do so. There's an old saying, time kills all deals, and it's true, is that the longer you wait and the longer you think about it, the longer you're not going to make that decision.
The universe definitely rewards speed. And here's the thing, business owners have to make quick decisions every day. And I've heard it said that the wealthiest people in the world make quick decisions and are very slow to change them, if ever. And so, but here's the thing, I'm not judging anybody, and different investor profiles will move differently. So sometimes you get people, they don't need a lot of data, right? They're very intuitive. They feel it, and then when they see it and they know it, they're ready to go. And then a lot of other people this is the biggest investment they've ever made outside of their home, but it's in themselves, and there's, insecurities. Can I do this? I don't know what I don't know. And so there's a process of getting comfortable that you really don't need special skills and that the franchisor really does care about you. And so it's moving you through that process so that you can cross that bridge confidently. But again, that's That's my forte. 23 years of learning how to deal with all the different personalities that come to the idea of owning a business. From your very confident alpha, guys who've always been successful at everything, and women who've always been successful at everything they've done, to a more soft-spoken, introverted engineer or oil and gas, geologist. I've worked with those people too, because when oil and gas goes down, they're looking for something consistent. I've placed many an oil and gas or geologist into businesses like Supercuts, and because they're looking for that slow and steady reoccurring revenue that regardless of what's happening in oil and gas, they have clients. And so there's all different types of businesses for all different types of investors. There's a path and a process, momentum, cadence, if you will. And I've done it all. Your spouse that's not supporting you, to couples who come to me together and want to do every call together. I've seen it all, done it all. But having said that, William, and I'm sure as a franchisor, you'll say pretty much every week something happens and you're like, wow, just when I thought I heard it all or saw it all, this is a new one. So people never stop surprising us, but that's probably why we stay and do this, because it's just no 2 days are ever the same.
Actually, and no two people are the same, because usually, you buy with emotion and then you justify it by logic. So I think that going back to a couple of things that now you brought up, if it's a good concept, it should already be in your inventory. But how do you steer someone away from a concept that you know for a fact, don't do this?
So I'm never going to steer anybody away from something. It's just not my personality, but I would, again, reinforce my process. Validation with existing owners will pretty much weed out a really bad franchisor with a really bad unsupportive culture. So the process that I have to deliver to candidates will help them make the decision for themselves. But at the end of the day, it's not my job to play God with your life. It's not my job to predict everything that's going to happen in the future. In order to do this for 23 years, I had to really come to these sort of like giant conclusions years ago, that I can only do what I can do and control what I can control. And it's not my job to control anybody. It's my job to help people that are saying, hey, Kim, teach me what you know and help me make a good investment decision for myself. But ultimately, the decision they're making is 100% on them. I'm just the guide, the trusted advisor, the resource. I can only go on the information I have that day at that moment. I can't control what happens 3 years from now to that franchise. So, it's always, there's some measure of risk. But again, that's why I believe franchising is who, not what. Because oftentimes, even when I'm looking at, I'm showing an emerging brand, it's backed by people that I've worked with other brands, people that I know and trust that have, been in franchising for 10 or 15 or 20 years, and they have that knowledge, they have the financial resources, they know what it takes to really build a solid franchise. So while the concept may be an emerging brand, the leadership team behind it is anything less than emerging. So that's that perfect marriage of like, you get wide open territories and, ample opportunity to grow in a nimble, adaptable company where the founder may, be on speed dial, but you still also get years of franchising knowledge and know-how in operations and development to give that investor comfort that this has a pretty good chance of going on to become the next big American brand.
And you answered my next question, which was, how do you tell? Because I was just at a couple of trade shows in Miami, and then IFA had one, and then New York with the International Franchise Expo. And you walk through those hallways, and you say, like, no, you're not franchising this, because you look and you go like, this is not gonna be it. And you've answered the question: is who's backing that concept that only has 3 or 4 units? And
Okay,
can't even show a night in Antigua.
There's also an insider cringe, okay, that I wouldn't say to a candidate. But like, if you're asking me for help, I'm not going to bring you those concepts. But if you found a concept at an expo that you just love and you have to explore it, again, bring it on.
Yeah.
Let the best man win. And if that one ends up being the right one because you vetted it and that's what you believe is good for you.
Sometimes it's like, with a legendary founder, sometimes it's in your system, it's in your DNA to grow a concept and make it work. And you make it work. Do you feel, though, after more than 20 years doing this, Do you feel that franchising today is as popular as when you first started doing this?
more more popular. I think when I first started, there was like a status issue with franchising. Like truly smart people don't invest in franchises. I think today people out of Wharton, out of MIT Sloan School, out of MBA school are looking at franchising as a wealth generating model because you can cut down that ramp up time and get to that scale. All wealth is created through scale. So if it takes you 3 to 5 years as an entrepreneur just to solidify a model, barely get to break even, right? In that same 3 to 5 years, I can take an empire building mentality and they can get 3 to 5 locations up and running. So again, if wealth is built through scale, which one helps you achieve wealth faster? Franchising all day long, right? So I think it's more popular today. I think it's a bigger conversation. I think there's a lot more franchisors that are looking for that more sophisticated investor. That's also why a lot more franchisors use consultants because they know, like, I'm out every day prospecting in real estate syndication communities and multifamily real estate investors. So I'm looking for that proven investor with a $4 or $5 million net worth who's looking for diversification, especially right now with the interest rates as they are in real estate in 2025, and they're looking for diversification. And let's be real, the heart of that alternative investment portfolio should be a business cash flowing return. But to go start a business as an entrepreneur, well, you might as well ditch all of your real estate because you don't have enough time to do all of this. But in the right franchise, something like a laundromat or something that's a little more less hands-on by the owner, you have that affordability of time, right? So you can put your money in, you can build a cash flowing asset without locking yourself down for 40, 50, 60 hours a week, right? And so then you get the cash flow, the tax advantage, and the equity that's yours to build and sell at the end of the rainbow. And so then these real estate investors are coming back and they're now building diversified portfolios of franchises and almost doing less real estate investing, all because of this conversation that I started in these communities back in 2020 during the pandemic when, I used to work with people who were in career transition, but nobody was in transition in 2020 because nobody was losing jobs. So I was like, okay, if I don't want to die on the vine, I better figure out a new little community of people to talk to.
Yeah.
And so I moved over to this investment community. And today I'd probably say I'm 70-30, mostly on the investor community, 30% on career transition. But I love them all equally. But again, it's just where I focus my time. And so that's where more leads get generated from.
No, that's great. That's great. And one more thing. One of the things that came up through my trade show, exploration, is the impact of AI on franchising. Do you get a lot of that now?
So, okay, personally, I love AI.
I do. I use it every day. So everything.
You can cut way down on your marketing budget when you can just chat GPT it or whatever, right? Like, okay, I love it. Yes, we are definitely seeing, especially in businesses where the franchisor is running a call center for their franchisees, like pest control or something where the call is going into like 1-800-GOT-JUNK. You go up to a call center up in Vancouver. Not that the bots are going to answer the phone, but there might also be an option to book your appointment via text chat, right? And that's going to be led through the AI. And so, but then also like in the beauty segment, we have, customers that if it's a membership, you go online, you want to join the membership. Now you can interact directly with a bot. You don't need to call. You don't need somebody standing at the front desk. The customers can come in and via a text alert their hairstylist or their esthetician that they're there, and kind of like in COVID times when we weren't allowed to enter the building until it was our turn. But we're seeing that through AI, you can eliminate that front desk person, which cuts some, kind of that employee off of your payroll. It also minimizes the space you need in brick and mortar, which optimizes your business model and makes it more profitable. So yeah, we are seeing AI come in so many different facets of running a business to marketing a business to, I'm sure maybe even on the, where else we're seeing AI? So when you're in the home and you're like quoting a job or building out like a template for cabinets, and you can just enter the data and then the AI can take it from there and then even 3D design it in real world time. So you don't have to go away and spend hours designing it and then come back and then show. Like I just went through this with a garage cabinetry this week. And I was like, wait, you don't have to. I thought, this is going to be like 2 or 3. He's like, no, give me 20 minutes. He entered all the data and all the dimensions, and then boom, the thing popped up. He had the price. I mean, it was a one and done sales call. It was awesome for me, saved me time. I knew I was going to do it anyway. I mean, yeah, AI is a good thing happening here in franchising.
Yeah, and from the negativity, negative Nellies, I call out there that say, "Oh, this is going to be extinct," or "This is what it's going to do is improve efficiency with the process." Just I first encountered the chatbot not long ago with my wife's hairstylist, and he goes in there only on appointments that the chatbot creates. Chatbot collects the payment. All he has to do is show in, okay, I'm only booked 2 hours today, and no, the rent is effective on that. No staffing, no receptionist. And with talking about Brian Scootmore up there in 800 Got Junk, self-driving trucks maybe.
I hope not, because I love my 1-800-GOT-JUNK boys. I actually had them come into my house this weekend. I know them so well. I'm a regular customer every year. I love those guys.
When Brian, right?
The culture at 1-800-GOT-JUNK is something to be spoken of, because the guys he has, or maybe it's the franchisee that runs New England, amazing guys. You think, people that pick up junk, no, these guys are hustlers. They are on the go. I mean, they are sharp. They are personable. They walk me through giving a review every time. It's so funny. It's like they are just on it. They are business people who just happen to be there to help move away your junk. But like, what an awesome culture that they've built. I love it. I love having those guys out to my house every single time.
I first talked to or met Brian when he was getting started, and I said to him, "It's this concept that collects junk. What do you?" And he truly is in person a goofy character. He's in his ads and everything else, and if you follow him on LinkedIn, he's got all his videos going on, and it's a fun. He's taking the job of junk collecting to a fun stage, to making it fun.
And I mean, that is a phenomenal franchise.
Yeah, it is. And I'll take my endorsement now. Yes.
You're welcome, 1-800-GOT-JUNK of New England.
Is there anything else that you'd like to share with us today?
Oh, it's so good. Yes, if you're out there on the sideline and you're thinking about wanting to be a franchisee, you're just kicking the tires, trying to do it your own way, don't do that. Don't waste your time. I am so ready to help you. The other thing is, people look at my YouTube channel and they see like 1,000 videos. And yeah, I'm super busy. I make a lot of videos, but I am never too busy for anyone who wants to meet Kim Daly. The whole point of all of my social media is to, like a magnet, attract you to me. So yes, I make time for every single person that wants to talk to Kim Daly, whether you have the money today or you don't. You will personally work with me. I will invest time in you. I will breathe life into your dreams. If it's time to go now because all of the things are ready, we'll go. But if it's not, I'll help you know exactly what you need to do financially, so you'll know when you're ready to call me back. You will not waste your time. You will not waste my time. So don't worry about that. Just reach out via one of my social media channels, because I'd love to meet you.
I really appreciate your time, Kim, and your energy is captivating. So I really do wish you success, and hopefully we'll meet some other time soon.
It would be great. I'll meet you in Vegas.
My door is open. Come on down. Have a good day. Thanks for joining us today, and hope you have gained some valuable insights into the world of franchising. My name is William Lesante, and I would like to invite you to the next episode of the Franchise Coach podcast. Please make sure to like and subscribe and share with your network. Also, click the link below to learn more about franchising with ActionCOACH. Thank you.